So, Mel and Jared, I don't know if you also noticed it. The students and the protesters who are in the inside of that circle, they are locking arms with each other. They are trying to continue to stand their ground. I want to give you a closer look. I promise I'll stay at a safe distance, but let's go ahead and come around here to this area and let's show you a different vantage point. But we're actually near a ton of hand crews. If you could kind of hear in the distance, you could hear a chainsaw going on. They're right here behind me. The San Diego Environmental Services arrived and they're picking up the mountains of trash that you see cluttered here in this intersection. So I'm going to step out of the way to drop people off. But then it's a different story once you get inside the airport. So let's go ahead and show you what it's looking like right now. When asylum seekers get denied at ports of entry like in San Isidro, why would they choose to come here versus maybe anywhere in Tijuana? I just bought a breakfast sandwich. I paid about $3.99 plus some change, but the cost of this could be going up soon. So we've been standing with Brandon DeSorbo in line, and the line actually moved. We are now inside the convention center. They have around 1,600 nurses between all of Brady's locations who will be participating in this strike until tomorrow night. But the hospital tells me that this strike now has them worried for their patients, and I want to show you why. Look at how close the strike is to the front of this building where many of those patients are. This is some of the cool roving entertainment that you can expect to see while you're walking around here at the fairgrounds. So there's a friends and family group of the USS Carl Vinson on Facebook, and I left my number on there just to see if anyone would be willing to speak to me about their loved ones being caught in the middle of everything right now. I actually heard back from mothers. Timothy says that the inventory at the auction may be slim, which also might make it challenging for him to keep his car lot full. That the tides are high and they're rolling in, it's actually pushed us all the way up against the wall, and it's actually also brought the whale in so much closer. Neighbors who live across the street from here and did not want to go on camera tell me that they saw teenagers sliding down this hill last night to escape the gunshots. Around 800 union members who work here at the Hotel Del are expected to be dropping off their ballots for a strike authorization vote. They would potentially join this strike here at the Hilton Bayfront, which is now on its 34th day of walking off the job. Last week's fire on the pier is still attracting a lot of attention. People want to see what it looks like now, but you can't get any further than this point. So what it's doing is it's forcing the foot traffic to now go down below, and that's what's been driving extra business to places like Tin Fish. I'm aboard the Addis. It's one of San Diego Police's harbor units, keeping a watchful eye out here on the waters like in Mission Bay. And for one officer who at one time had a brush with a near tragedy years ago while boating, that sparked his lifelong mission of keeping others safe out here on the water. This storage plant that I am standing in has more than 100 of these battery packs that you see here behind me. And you'll notice it's all on a single level, and each of the packs are separated from each other. Polls across San Diego County will be open until 8 o'clock this evening. And to tune in for the results. Yeah, Max, so this move specifically targets those programs that provide legal representation to those unaccompanied minors. It's saving $135,000 a year, worth getting rid of all the fire pits here in Mission Beach.
Well, earlier tonight we tried talking to Chiefs fans, but that didn't go well because, as you saw, the Eagles came flying out of the gates, dominating the first half of the game.
We're down here at the Embarcadero, and as you can see, all eyes are on the Big Bay Boom. We met people from all walks of life who came down here today, and because we wanted to show you how other people are not just claiming spots on the lawn, but they're actually getting onto the Midway to see the fireworks show. Check out this line here behind me. You can see everyone waving. City of Vista to welcome a cannabis event like this is because of the tax revenue that the cannabis industry generates here in the city. He says last year alone, the city made around $7 million from the cannabis industry. And he also says that money goes back into local law enforcement and even towards student scholarships. So what a super fund would do is it would allow the EPA to come into an area that's, quote, contaminated, and then declare that it's contaminated so they can go in and completely eradicate it of that contamination, just clean it up. And ultimately what that would do, Mayor Gary believes that what that would do is help with all of the chronic illnesses that the South Bay residents are suffering with on a daily basis. We know that she's also very worried about the younger children who are starting to develop respiratory issues. So she's really doing this in
in the interest of curing a public health crisis.
The U.S. Agency for International Development, or USAID, has all but closed. The State Department announced it will take over what's left of the agency. The move cost thousands of people their jobs, including people right here in San Diego. ABC 10 News reporter Dani Miskell met with a former employee of the agency. He describes the moment he learned everyone was losing their jobs and the ripple effect it could have across the world.
It was incredibly impersonal. As I mentioned, my name wasn't mentioned, and it was essentially, we've done a review and we found that we don't need your services anymore.
At the end of February, Rob Friedman was among the first wave of USAID employees to be cut. According to ABC News, around 4,000 employees were placed on leave. Another 1,600 got an email like Rob's, telling them their services were no longer needed. Shortly after, members of the president's administration were seen on television questioning the agency's spending.
If you look at the waste and abuse,
Rob tells me those labels couldn't be farther from the truth.
How we were being labeled was quite disconcerting to hear.
Rob joined USAID 13 years ago. He worked for the Bureau for Humanitarian Assistance, dealing with disaster situations around the world and delivering food, shelter, and essential supplies. Rob is a photographer and took pictures while illustrating some of the work he did abroad. Rob took this photo in Nepal while helping with earthquake management in 2015.
We went back to Nepal to check and to see which of the schools stood after the earthquake, primarily the ones that were constructed with the education and training provided by USAID. These schools stood.
Rob also spent time in Honduras after catastrophic hurricanes ripped through the country, devastating its crops. He took this photo of a Honduran girl while helping local farmers.
Making sure that the latest technologies are being used to make sure that they're producing a lot. And we're finding incredible results from this.
Then in 2014 and 2018, USAID got involved in West Africa where there was the Ebola outbreak.
The fact that Ebola didn't make it to the United States shows what it is that USAID did. Sometimes it's easy to overlook an achievement like that because it didn't hurt anybody.
Rob says all of the projects he was deployed on came directly from the administration in office at that time.
So the idea that USAID should just have his head cut off for following guidance is difficult to stomach.
But they turn out to be radical left lunatics.
It's been more than a month since the Trump administration announced it was getting rid of USAID. Rob worries what long-term consequences we could see with foreign policy and humanitarian efforts globally.
I think that the biggest loss is going to be from health programs. The initial problems that you're going to have is you just don't have the same system in place now for health support. And this is clearly going to result in, sorry to say, more death.
And as for the food supply from American farmers to countries living with food insecurity or drought,
this is also gone.
If you could give our policymakers one key message, what would it be?
There's something called the 3 Ds for foreign policy. And that's defense, development, and diplomacy. USAID is the organization carrying out development. That impacts your ability to carry out diplomacy as well. Do you really want to cut off development? Are you cutting off your nose to spite your face here? I think that's what you're doing with USAID.
Dani Miskell, ABC 10 News. It's now day 3 after floodwaters destroyed everything. Those with helping hands and willing hearts are working on cleaning up this home on Beta Street. The owner is Fernando Pastor.
Look at this.
He gives us a tour inside his home.
All this stuff, well, you can see, and everything will last.
It's damp and dark and heartbreaking because today is the day he'll let all of this go.
This is so sad.
It is.
I think we need a lot of help.
My dad came to this country with nothing, no money. He didn't know any English. He didn't know anybody. And he just, all this, through hard work and perseverance, he was able to, buy this house.
This is Fernando's son, Larry, and he's helping throw everything out.
but he just came across something that brings up memories of the home he grew up in.
I just saw an album of old pictures from when I was a kid.
It's frustrating losing everything, but it's got to be done by today, before the mold takes over. And the extra helping hands comes from a fellow neighbor.
This is my community. My dad's shop is 2 streets away. He's been there for about 30 years. I have 3 employees on this street, so, it's very personal.
Eric Aguilera is a general contractor, and his business deals specifically with water remediation. But he's doing more than just his status quo.
As we're emptying out houses, we're taking photos of everything, documenting it, itemizing it, making sure that if there is, any funds in the future, the people without insurance also have an itemized list of everything.
Fernando Pastor feels lucky that when he bought his house, the bank forced him to get flood insurance. It's paying off 30 years later. But this home will never be what it was before.
And this community is more interconnected than we may realize. Right now, there's a WhatsApp group that they're asking everybody in this neighborhood to join so that they can help out with the communication and navigating this devastation on a day-to-day basis, especially giving guidance to those who do not have flood insurance. To find out what the name of that WhatsApp group is called, visit this story on our website. Reporting in South Crest, I'm Dani Miskell, ABC 10 News.
The Tijuana River sewage crisis has been a very popular topic at the federal level recently, and on Thursday, it had one more visitor from Washington, D.C. U.S. Senator Cory Booker was just here. He took a tour right to this hotspot that I'm standing in front of, and he got a first-hand look at the sewage crisis for his very first time.
Here we have volatile organic compounds, benzene, solvents.
Senator Cory Booker walked alongside Imperial Beach Mayor Paloma Aguirre. Aguirre taking him to this hotspot off Saturn Road, where you can see the foam bubbling up from the toxic chemicals flowing inside.
The air conditioning in our car did not stop the stench from coming through. It did not. We were smelling this all the way down the road.
Senator Booker has a history of going after environmental issues in his home state of New Jersey.
I've been a mayor. I had Superfund sites in my community that just didn't get the federal action they should.
Aguirre worked for Booker's office back in 2016. She says her purpose for bringing him to the South Bay is to get support from both the House and the Senate.
The House has voted to gut a lot of fundamental programs right now on the House side. What we need is support on the Senate side to not eliminate sources of funding that fund the work.
I asked Senator Booker if he supports Mayor Aguirre's efforts to declare this a state of emergency.
I am calling for that right now. This is a state of emergency, and it should have an official declaration.
But more importantly, he wants to put pressure on the EPA. As we know, EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin was just here to see this for the first time himself. He says that he wants to put pressure on Mexico to fix this issue. Reporting in the Tijuana River Valley, Dani Miskell, ABC 10 News.
How are things going, Dani?
Hi, Kim. So Comic-Con is not just about beating your favorite characters, it's about becoming your favorite characters. Let's go ahead and show you some of the people who are here in cosplay around us right now. We've even got some people that might look familiar to you. But today we saw plenty of fans bring the multiverse to life, transforming into superheroes, villains, sci-fi icons, and many told us they suited up in celebration of some big blockbuster releases, dropping even today.
The new Fantastic Four movie dropped Thursday, and for a lot of fans, that was the perfect excuse to live out their superhero dreams.
I just love the new cast. I think that they did a phenomenal job with everyone that they put in each character, so I'm really excited for that.
Even though Marvel Studios didn't have a panel in Hall H this year, this Mr. Fantastic was actually relieved.
That means I have time to sleep. I'm like, I don't have to sleep in lines this year. Great.
Who are you dressed up as?
I dressed up as Kamina. He's my favorite character from one of my favorite anime.
This is Ben, and he came with his dad, Dan, who dressed up as Superman to celebrate the remake that opened a few weeks ago. Comic-Con has been a bucket list for this family.
We tried for over 20 years to get tickets to this show. This is only my second time coming here. And for my son to be able to be here with me as well, and for us to represent our interests is great.
Now moving out of the multiverse.
This is the part where it comes out of your stomach.
There were promotions for big blockbusters blockbusters like the new Tron movie, hitting theaters in a few months, is pulling in lifelong fans.
What do you think about movies like this, kind of staying timeless?
I'm like, oh my goodness, so then now they can relate. I can relate with my grandkids talking about, these movies that are now here.
As a diehard Star Wars fan myself, this had to be my last stop. And Ahsoka revealed to me there's a secret Star Wars society meeting up at Comic-Con. She says it's super hard to get into.
The 501st is a group of screen-accurate Star Wars super fans. They run all kinds of like Star Wars duels outside, and so it's a really fun fan-driven activity.
All right, so we've even got some Star Wars fans right here giving you this lightsaber action live. And, the big Star Wars panel is going to be this Saturday. It's happening at Hall H in the afternoon. It's going to be part of a big Project Hail Mary. And A-list actor Ryan Gosling will be there. So you know what? I might be there. We've got more Comic-Con coverage coming up for you. So stick with us on ABC 10 News. But for now, live outside the convention, I'm Dani Miskell, ABC 10 News.